Hi, hello everyone. I just wanted to say thanks so much to AQR for having me here to support the journal. It's an amazing journal that I've been reading since my MFA years, actually, which started in 2006. So I've been reading it for a long time, and I'm so excited and grateful to have my poems appearing in the new issue, which is my first time in the journal. And because I teach now at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, it's also very close to home. It's kind of feels like a kinship right now. So it's especially special to have my first poems appear in AQR while I've started teaching in the University of Alaska system. It's so nice to see everyone virtually, and thanks to everyone for coming to watch on your Sunday evening. I'm just going to pretty much read straight through these poems. They're all from my second manuscript paper, which will be published by Milkweed in 2022 in the fall. So I'm not really going to read anything from Bone Map. This is maybe the first reading actually where I haven't read from Bone Map. Also, if anybody notices some sound, please alert me, because I was hearing my neighbor doing some sort of car work and starting their car, and it was very loud just a minute ago, so apologies in advance if that happens. The first poem I'm going to read is called Revelation. Moon's blood smears my forehead, the secret mark of love. I am ready to be loved by anything. I pull the knife from my boot, cut the rainbow shard from my chest, puncture my skull through the ear, pour the last elixir of thought into the soil, the shadow honey, a light the worms eat. Then I cut my soul out, pushed my form out in loops, the way frost flowers had in those first hours of spring, pushed through stems in the fields, mimicking flowers, as my body had mimicked a body. I pushed through my skin the way pain had pushed through my brain, like a tooth through a gum, until I could no longer contain it. I am learning about the power of such pain and its relation to love. Once my body was a sacrifice, then the altar, then the lightning that struck it. I stand now between the severing of the sun and its shadow, when the eclipse slips like a spinal disc and all its white blood pours out through the halo. Now I'm the beast caught in thorns in the forest it once wandered, looking for a home. Now I yield, lie down with what night desires me, let it consume me, press my back to the bramble so each thorn grows sharper with my shadow's blood. Then my head rolls away from my neck, as if from the door of a tomb, and I climb out from the soft purple tissue at my center. A lamb with claws and a morning star sphere where a beating heart should be. Lamb that could kill you if you came any closer. Lamb that nibbles the grasses from your hand without fear. Parable of the unclean spirit. You can't remember what they did to you. Your loneliness is not welcome here, you know, but still you walk the dreamlit village looking for someone gentle enough. There must be an animal trapped under your shirt, you think, because little claws scratched against your chest and you throb there. But you're afraid to look because looking means remembering. You ask a man passing on the road to lift your shirt and check, and he retches at what he sees, says the flesh there overflows, as if grinding its own meat, that strips of skin curl away from the wound like rot mushrooms growing on a tree. And he can't help you. You make him sick, he says. He has to go. So you wander some more until you reach the gate, the end of this place you've called home, which is the end of who you could have been, the end of the dream of your body made full with star milk, propelled by a heart of sea anemone. You'll be hungry forever if you stay here, trying to hide your secret mouth from all this light. Before you can cross the gate into that dark valley, you must look at yourself. You can think of other words for red, crimson, cherry, scarlet, but there's no other name for blood, no name for a shame like this. Its hiss of pain when you press your finger to it, the sweet stain it leaves on your fingertip. You just have to taste it. These next two poems are actually the ones that are going to appear in the next AQR issue. The first one is called Home. All the trees in the backyard have my disease, all crooked, sad things that shake and bend at the threat of teeth or touch, bleach, sugar, and rust. I think I'm afraid to stop bleeding because it means sleeping forever. On one island grows a tree called dragon's blood that bleeds red sap, and arthropods bleed blue threads. The blackfin ice fish bleeds clouded milk, and far south, a glacier bleeds iron oxide that still feeds an ancient ecosystem. Even flower stems bleed latex. Everything bleeds. Still, nothing so beautiful lives inside me. Nothing like the tenderness of horses, their trembling eyelids and tangled manes. Sometimes I cry in the cafe bathroom, in the car, behind a tree, so no one will see. Sometimes I drive out to visit a stranger's horses just to be near them, stand with them a while, with my empty hand outstretched, like another animal, dark and small, coming out into the light for the first time. Legend. You feel dead now, but there are ways to reach through time, to resurrect yourself. Listen, many years ago, a reindeer died from anthrax in the tundra. The ice kept its body intact, and when the permafrost melted, the carcass thawed, and the spores awoke inside its lungs and heart. Little lesions another reindeer ate and infected the herd, which all died, and the shepherd boy who tended the herd died too, after contaminating his entire village. Sometimes the horrors of the world amaze me. In laboratories, scientists have revived bacteria frozen 8 million years and prehistoric viruses from meltwater, which became infectious in seconds. From this you learn we're never safe, but maybe it means we're never alone. Under a microscope, the bacteria in me moves like a moon field with an amoebic flower at its center, ancestral organ, petaled afterglow nothing can see, not even itself. I know it by the fever that waxes and leans against my forehead, as a name you repeat to not forget, or a word for home when you're far away, that homesickness when you've never been home before, but yet, like the miracle of the worm, regrowing its head after the children cut it off, can still somehow find your way back. And this one is called Nebula. The anemone of your dream blooms inside the vacuum of black wind, floats in radial symmetry, a remnant of terror uprooted from its reef. You float without your body, though it lingers like a signature of itself, the swell and implosion of your matter. You a wave that reversed, heard fetal but never closed its loop, like sand whirling in the desert, in that memory of violence you still can't erase. Even now, the scorpion's tail there, rippling the sand of your mind, and the man or something in that shape asking if you're all right, and you unanswering, as he presses his hand against your neck, between your thighs, as the sun pulses through your palms, through your chest, and how you burned open then, for your world at its end, how your tongue turned to blood and your skin melted pink, your cry for someone, something heard across space, like the vibrations of distant stars, instruments had once translated into sounds, for us to hear and know it was not too late to be alive, though it was. Lazarus. Through the mist in this place, I see as the first mammals once saw through their forests, dark photons translating matter into shape, shadow flower, shadowstone, the rippling of bees and their shadow blood weeping inside the trees. My first eye stares back at mine through the leaves, and into my chest pours a weight, an infinite pressure inside my heart or left lung, like an extinction echoing backward into the first cell of its animal, my body colder in that spot. A thumbprint blooms between my breasts, where a stranger once pressed, and being so alone, I open like a grave. Migration. We shadows return to the trees, scraping the ground like a snake shedding its skin, or a wolf licking a chest cavity, or your teeth against my neck in the dream I can't stop having, though I move with the herd now, an alphabet growing under my skin, wind tracing each letter with its tongue, learning its form. Who erased your face, the wind asks. How do you see without eyes? If I could answer, I would say, I see as nectar tunneling through a moon, not through glass, but as dark that learns to love itself, as cloud tissue, as the black glue that holds each thing together, though light would separate it. I see as the tiny ripple that moves through muscle before an earthquake or massacre, the word opening its lesion, the blood of the martyr as it exits the wrist. I see through the hole in my chest that breathes as black holes had breathed against the eyes of the astronomers. When I reach the forest, the trees are soft enough to push a hand through. I find mine among them, and ready to begin the long work of growing away from the sunlight that still laps its memory at the edge of my mind. I break my spine, fold my body inside, and become paradise. And this is the last one that I'm going to read. It's called Geode, and it actually happens to be the oldest poem in the packets. It's the last poem that I'm reading, and it's the oldest that I'm going to read from the manuscript. Geode. You remember the moon over the city had been eaten by worms. You remember how it had no face, how the windows were iced honeycombs as your mother left the church with the basket of cured meat and eggs and bread, covered with a handkerchief. Your mother walking in her shadow, your mother her body at night a plot of dirt, and her blue eyes, the first flowers the wind permits. And ahead, a white horse plodding its carriage past soldiers with machine guns, the scrape of horseshoes on stone. and the wind warp of a train, and the snow swell through an alley, like blood rushing into a brain cavity. Think of all this, how each skull, like a geode, holds a crystal colony inside. The glittering of synapse, quartz glints of dreams you have not had, mirror bits of other faces and cities you know, because someone has told you them. Any bullet there could have been hers. Anyone could have made a hole in her head. Then crystals would have bled into the air, onto the wind, like the snow wafting into the house, through the window you forgot to close, which is why you realize you are shivering. Thank you so much